I was born to preach the gospel. I was born to preach the gospel. I was born to preach the gospel. And I sure do love my job. Yeah. I was born to preach the gospel. I was born to preach the gospel. I'm born to preach the gospel. I sure do love my job. Yeah. Yes, I really love my job. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Oh, I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Yes, I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Get firmly rooted. So let's get firmly rooted. Let's get firmly rooted. So let's get firmly rooted. Oh, I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Let's get firmly rooted. Firmly rooted. Let's get firmly rooted. Yeshua, 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 Yeshua. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. We are disciples that make disciples that make disciples. We are disciples that make disciples that make disciples. We are disciples that make disciples that make disciples. Let's keep firmly rooted. Firmly rooted.
Good morning, Rooted Men. Oh, my hair. It's weird. I haven't seen it yet. It's glad I could be with you this morning to do Strengthening Our Roots. A little scary. I'm not used to having such a large audience. Vivian. Oh, yeah, me. I could do that. That's right. I got the technology. Good morning, Vivian. It's nice to see you. And Bert Reggiani. It's always great to see you. I'm usually doing the men's devotion. And so there's only usually a handful of men. There's usually Ken Gooch, Bert Reggiani, Ed Pila, Steve Ponowierski, and me. And so it's kind of a nice surprise. And hey, Steve, how you doing this morning? Glad you could be with us. This morning, we are looking at Mark 9, verses 19 to 24. And the title that was given to me on the devotion sheet was, Help Me with My Disbelief. And it comes from the scripture, of course. Oh, look at all the people signing in. I feel like Steve Skopek. Nathan, how you doing, Nathan? It's nice to see you. Greg Ray and Steve Ponowierski. All right, we're getting there. Got quite a crowd going this morning. Start out this morning, basically from the scripture we're looking at today. Let's see if I could. Should I read it? No. It's about believing that God can do something. And really, that's what I wanted to talk about. I read a cute story yesterday, and I thought I'd share it with y'all because it just made me chuckle, and I thought it was nice. There was a teacher in an elementary school teaching biology and she was teaching about whales and how the throat on a whale is really small, and that there's no way a whale could swallow a human. And a little girl in her class raised her hand and said, well, Jonah was inside of a whale. And the teacher says, no, he wasn't. He was definitely not inside of a whale, because there's no way a whale could swallow him. His throat is too small. And the little girl goes, that's not what I read. And she goes, but when I get to heaven, I'm going to ask Jonah. And the teacher looks at her real seriously and goes, well, what if you don't go to heaven? What if he didn't go to heaven? And the little girl says, well, then you can ask him. I just love that. Why does Mark tell his story? Why do you think? I'm going to do the story first, though. I think that's probably the best thing to do. We'll do the, it's quick. It's part of a bigger thing. But let me see if I can share this screen and we can see it together. Please bear with me. I'm not quite as quick at this as these professional guys. Here we go. You unbelieving generation, Jesus replied. How long shall I stay with you? How long shall I put up with you? Bring the boy to me. So they brought him. Then the spirit saw Jesus. It was immediately threw into convulsion. He fell to the ground and rolled along, foaming at the mouth. Jesus asked the boy's father, how long has he been like this? From childhood, he answered. It has often thrown him into fire or water to kill him. But if you can do anything, take pity on us and help us. If I can, said Jesus, everything is possible for one who believes. Immediately the boy's father exclaimed, I do believe. Help me overcome my unbelief. And why did it take me back? There we go. I'm back. Okay, so why do you think Mark told this story? I mean, it does. In the pre parts of it, there's an argument going on between religious leaders and the disciples because they had tried to heal this man and it failed. It didn't seem like if you're trying to create a book that you'd want to show failures, but I think that the point a lot of this was the fact that maybe no matter how good we are at something or how intelligent or we're well-versed, we should always know that we're still dependent on God. We still depend on his guidance, his strength, his ability to make things happen. The boy's father, he doesn't even know who Jesus is. He knows some guy maybe that had been healing people and there was a chance that it could heal. But he's willing to try anything to save his child. And I thought to myself, the boy doesn't know who the father is, but how many of us don't really know who Jesus is? How many of us hold back? I mean, he explains the affliction. And then Jesus responds, if you can. I think he was a bit shocked by the question or the statement. And then he tells him, all you need to do is believe. And I as I read the first part of, I thought about the father doesn't know who Jesus is. I wrote a little question next to that statement. I said, do we all not give God enough credit? How many times, it happened to me a few times that I'm praying for somebody and somebody will say, oh, it's terminal, he's not going to make it. So then by that statement, I'm thinking to myself, well, why would you say that if God can do anything? If it's God's will to do something, bye, Steve. Sorry about that. If it's God's will to fix somebody, I don't think a terminal illness should be the reason that we should give up. Well, why is belief so hard? Why is it so hard for us to believe that our God can do anything? I mean, we've seen it. Just living your life, you lose people, you love people, you lose them. And and you think this shouldn't be this way. And for the life of me, I don't have an answer to that question. I just posed the question. The Son's problem been going on for so long that you wonder if he had just not given up. I mean, he had just said, this is a chance, but I'm not holding out a lot of hope. When he was talking to hope in the flesh, that is the cool part. And I think sometimes we put limits on God, and I think today that's what I'd like to focus on. We forget how big God is. We look at a problem and say, this is too much. If you could just help him, comfort him, and just say, get rid of it. Be rid of it. Be gone. I mean, he's not asking us to explain what he can do. He's asking us to ask. And I think that's the key. We forget that, he told us ask. And he would be the one that decides. He would be the one that makes the choice. Can you imagine a God that scientists today are unfolding more about the human DNA in the body than they ever thought they would ever know. I mean, the way the system works in every little ways, and how one thing is for this and it's if you're a scientist, that you see stuff and it's an amazing creation. Even to the point now that some scientists are logging on to other ways of creation, knowing that it's just too hard to believe this was an accident. But you imagine a God that can do that. And then a God that made the mountains and the oceans, and a God that made the galaxies and the universe. The way he took nature and the way he put this all on this tip of this pin, the way nature balances on this little pin, and it balances so perfectly, knowing that every time we mess something up over here, it's going to cause an effect over here. How about the creator of everything? Now we've looked at, this is our picture of our God. This is how big our God is. Our God is huge. Can we put a limit on the size of our God? There was a saying that Tom used to say all the time in church, and that's what I want to end with today. I found this online, and I thought this would be a cool little ditty to share with you. Bear with me while I tinker around here again, because it takes a second to switch. But I found this video. It's just a picture, and it's not the size of your faith that matters. It's the size of your God. And if I leave you with any message today, that would be the one. Quit praying to a small God. Quit putting limits on God. Give him everything. Give him the little things, the big things, the giant things, the things that you think there is no hope. Then you'll come to understand God a little bit better. I hope that was a blessing to you. I pray that you enjoyed it. I know, so nice to see so many faces on here this morning. It's really cool. Good morning, Mary Jo. That's a lot of name. Mary Jo, Joanna O'Brien. Love you. I'm glad you showed up today. It's always nice to see people I have never met before. Blessings on your day. Have a firmly rooted day. And may someone see Jesus in you today. And don't forget how big your God really is. Peace.